What's up, good people? What's happening? What is going on? I hope everybody is doing well. Man, I am like really excited to be able to share with you today something that I personally have like had lots of thoughts about. Something that I've been wanting to share for quite some time, and so today is Massive Action Monday. So I hope that today, whatever you've been doing, wherever you've been, I hope that all has been going well. I hope you and your family are doing well. And so what I want to do is I want to go ahead and dive in because I don't want to waste any time. I want to kind of cover um, something that I have been working through, and that has been the thought about like, why is it that there's been so many people who've left their jobs, right? Like there's a lot of conversations, there's a lot of ideas out there of why people have left their jobs, but you know, clearly there's at least one or two things when you think about why people have left their jobs. But then there's also just like this shift in employment, shift in talent, and a lot of companies even have had to try to figure out like what do we do to either retain talent, right? How do I keep you in your role? Two, how do I make sure you feel like you're valued here? And three, if we do got to make some changes, how do we do that in the most effective way? Because the truth of the matter has been is that regardless of whether you like it or not, there are side effects to all the stuff that has happened over the last 2.5 years, including the fact that automation really became like the thing, right? Like automation sped up for many companies. Well, for a lot of employees, that also meant that either you found yourself in a troubled situation or you had to retool. But there's also something that I want to do that I want to kind of talk about because what I realized is that for all of us, and this is really good for Massive Action Monday. And if you're watching live on Massive Action Monday, just leave a note down in the comment below. I'll make sure that I get to you. If you're watching this on the replay on Massive Action Monday, I want you to know that there's real opportunity for you and I, like real opportunity, especially for those of you who are working your day job and you're trying to figure out, do I stay, do I go, right? Like you're kind of playing double dutch, right? And what I'm going to tell you is stay put. Okay, that's what I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you stay put, right? Profit now, resign later, if that's your thing. For some people they won't. I know people who literally were millionaires while they're still working their day job. So I'm not telling you to quit or not. What I am saying is you got to be able to do some things that you can do right now. I'm gonna show you three moves, three things, three tips, three strategies that you can literally implement tomorrow. And you can start turning a profit, right? And what I like to call this is literally like the LTL of the Great Resignation. Okay, so let me just kind of share with you my thoughts here, and I'm gonna I'm just gonna share because what I want us to do is I really want us to think about like, okay, if there's a way for me to profit right now and still keep my job, maybe I should try that, right? Like if there's a way for me to grow my side business and still keep my day job while that's growing, I think I might want to know that. So I'm gonna give you some tips, all right? So here's the first thing that you got to understand. So let me set the board up because and I'm very curious, like what opportunities have you seen since a lot of people have either been laid off, downsized, or fired throughout, last quarter of last year into this third quarter here. So I'm just going to show you something that I think is really, really interesting. Um, and we're just going to talk about it. So we're going to talk about how to create a profit during the recession while working your day job. Okay, I want to be very clear. You will not have to leave your job for this one. All right. So here's the thing. Um, And just so you know, when you're thinking about opportunities, don't feel bad about spotting some. There's nothing wrong with that. There's no like bad omen. There's nothing. That it just means you know how to spot opportunity. What I want you to do is learn how to capitalize on it. And I'm gonna show you three things that you should do right now, like literally while watching this and after watching this, that you can go implement into your skill set. Because the key is, listen, guys, we're all trying to increase our revenue streams. We're all trying to increase how much we earn. Why not? Right? But there's value in the marketplace. Okay. That's why I've encouraged all of you, if you have not yet registered for my Grow Your Side Business Challenge, starts June 20th. You might want to hop in because you're going to learn a lot of tips and tricks and resources to level up and increase your income and be able to show your value in the marketplace. This is just one thing that I want to give you in order to be able to do that. So here we go. I want to call that. I'm gonna have this. This is really what I like to call an LTL method. Okay, this is just a method in order to be able to really earn real income, like right now. Okay, now the LTL method works like this. The way this works is the first L represents learn to teach. I'm gonna tell y'all right now. You remember being in like middle school and high school? Remember that teacher you hated? Then do you remember the teacher that you actually fell in love with? You remember the teacher that actually got your brain like open to learning something? Most of us remember our favorite teacher. But over time, we've accepted roles where, it's task oriented, right? You tell me what to do, I just go do it, right? And for those of you who are high level achievers, you're in management roles. You're used to kind of taking the lead and taking action. But I'm going to tell you, one of the greatest things you can do right now, you and I can do right now, is learn to teach. Learn how to, and I want to add a word here. Looks like my board decided to go to sleep on me. It's reconnected. But I'm going to add a word there that is really what I want to say. Learn to effectively teach. I don't know why my board decided to go away, but that's all right. That's what happens when you live. When you live, things happen. All right. So what we're going to do is I want us to learn to effectively teach. All right. I'm going to just put this over here. And effective is really important. Because everybody has the ability right now to take what you literally know today and go teach other people that thing. You have it right now. Okay? But the basics is you've got to learn to teach. Some of us are not really good at communicating, right? So what does it mean to learn to teach? The first thing you got to do is you got to get really good at understanding simple language. My years of working in learning and development, there was a few things that I realized. The best way to get anybody to learn something super complex is to be able to put it in simple language. Let me give you an example. If you cannot explain to your 6-year-old daughter, son, niece, nephew, or the 6-year-old down the street, if your kids are older, if you cannot effectively explain to them what you do not know how to effectively teach. If you read most of the great books, most magazines, most of your favorite literature, right? It's all in what? Like 3rd, 5th grade level. Okay? And it's crazy because we'll have these bestsellers, but if you really go look at the way it was written in simple language, right? So we've got to learn how to write in very simple language, okay? Like, if you learn nothing else, if you want to profit like right now, learn how to teach in simple language. Okay. So, but it's the learning journey too, right? I don't want y'all to get lost in like just the profit side, because you could go out here and tell somebody something and they don't understand it, they'll walk away. And that one person walking away means thousands will walk away from you because you haven't gotten effective at it. And what you got to learn how to do is do it in simple language. Here's the second thing about learning to teach. If you could do it in simple language, then you've got to be able to have multiple ways to communicate. This right here is one of the most important building blocks of effective teaching. Why? I'm teaching you in two ways right now, but I'm communicating in three. Now, that sounds a little weird. Let me explain. I'm speaking to you. That's one, right? So you're hearing me, but I'm also writing it. Writing reinforces what we hear, right? So multiple ways to communicate something. I wrote the word multiple ways of communicate. I know that sounds like super simple, but this will stick quicker than me just standing up here talking in front of the camera and just telling you to go do it, right? So you're seeing the words and hearing them, right? And then the third part of that is can you put it in pictures, right? Can you draw a symbol? Can you create a unique way to state that, right? Can you make it rhyme? Can you like Dr. Seuss? Dr. Seuss taught in a multiple ways. How? Picture form, poetry, and the leverage of language, right? So he used multiple ways. Some of the stuff turned into songs, right? That's an effective way to teach, right? So the idea is, and now we're grown and we're leveraging, Dr. Seuss thinking and ways of talking, right? So the point is, when you're learning to do anything, it's simple language, multiple ways to communicate, and then here's something that I think is really important as you're learning how to teach. This is the kicker. This right here is really important. You got to do it often. Whatever it is you want to eventually teach somebody, you've got to do it often. And if you do it often enough, guess what? Eventually, you don't have to think about it. It will become automatic. And the real brain power will come in the simple language that you're going to use, the multiple ways to communicate it, and you're just going to keep doing it over and over and over again. And as you do that, you will be learning how to effectively teach people something that you've learned. If you can learn to teach, you can profit during the Great Resignation. Why is that? Like, okay, so what I learned to teach. Why is that? Why is that important? Because the next one is, if I can learn to teach, here's the second one. If I can learn to teach, now here's what I can do. I can teach something I already know online. So I want you to think of it this way. If I learn how to effectively teach, then guess what? Now I can teach something I already know online. Now, here's the cool part. If I can teach it online, guess what happens? That means now, guess what I get to do? If I can effectively teach online, I can make money. The key is online. Why? Because if I can effectively learn to teach, and I can do that in a way that's simple, multiple ways to communicate it, and I'm doing it often, well, now I can take some skill that you have right now. Like, I want you to write down today. Write down 3 to 5 things that you do at your job right now. Like a skill set, right? a tool that you, whatever the case may be, right? Because here's the one thing I'm going to tell you that it happened during the Great Resignation that a lot of people didn't bank on, but you can profit from. Here's what happened. A lot of people did not realize that guess what I might have to do in order to get a new job? I might have to learn something new. And do you realize that during the pandemic, a lot of people did what? Some of the smart ones learned a lot online. They bought courses, workshops, all sorts of things. Why? Because people found themselves either having to shift. If they were going to leave an industry and go into a new one, they were going to have to learn somehow. And they can't go outside because at the height of the pandemic, that wasn't going to happen. So guess what? You've got to learn some way. Well, for those who had stuff online, guess what? They made a profit. Why not you? Right? If you're a high-level manager or you're an executive or you've been working in your role for a while and you got a particular skill set, well, guess what? If you can learn to teach it, then you can teach something you already know online because there's an entire community of high achievers and people who want to know stuff. And you have it inside of your head, but you aren't being as effective as you can in the marketplace because you haven't leveraged this method. And that's why you're watching this video here on Massive Action Monday. But here's what I want you to understand. If you can teach something already, guess what happens? Then that means people want to learn something new. So what does that mean? I can create, right? Maybe I go and create, let's go back. Maybe I go and create a set of videos, right? Maybe that set of videos are instructional videos, how-to video, right? Like, I want you to think, like, really think about what it is that you do. You might be able to create an instructional video. You might be able to create a how-to video, right? You may be able to create a tutorial. Listen, there's stuff that you already know that you could literally be right now. That's why you see the subtitle. You don't have to, you can profit now, resign later. And again, you don't have to necessarily resign. But I am telling you, by teaching something you already know and putting it online, there's a ton of different resources and companies that you can literally place your course online for free and get paid for the views and or selling the actual course. Well, how would you do that? How might you go effectively about doing that? Well, what could you do? Let's see. One, what you could do is, let's say you want to teach somebody, some platform, right? Maybe there's some platform out there that you're leveraging, right? And maybe you say, I want to teach a platform. Well, guess what? I can break the platform teaching into 3 different targets. So maybe what you do is you go and you create a beginners, right? You may create an intermediate, right? And maybe an advanced. Now, some people may go, yeah, but Chris, I don't have the right lighting. Yeah, but Chris, I don't have this. Yeah, Chris, that's easy for you to say. I don't have the same setup as you. Ladies and gentlemen, I know one thing everybody does have: a phone. Okay? Everybody has a phone. And because you have a phone, I know it has a camera on it. You can get you a $20 tripod and stand in your house or get online and download a program that allows you to share your screen. You can use Zoom, right? But my point is, you can profit right now if you're willing to put in the work. So now guess what happens? What if you have the beginner's course is 10 videos, right? The intermediate course is 10 vids, right? The advanced is 10 videos, right? Well, now that's 30 videos, and you might be going, okay, what do I do with all that? Well, guess what? Now you've got an entire package. This entire thing is a package deal that now I can go build a landing page and go make money. We're only on number 2. Oh, it gets sweeter on number 3. Okay, this is just 2, right? So let's just look at this. All right. So first of all, it's the LTL method, right? I want you to profit during this time as an employee. That's what I want you to be able to do. LTL method. First of all, we're going to learn to teach. If you can learn to effectively teach simple language, multiple ways to communicate, and doing it often, you could win here. Then, being able to teach somebody something you already know. Don't try to overthink this. Don't get caught up in the details of making it pretty. Don't get caught up in all of the stuff and worried about what other person says and what this person says and what that person says. That doesn't matter. You know what matters? Is your content available? Because I'm going to tell you a little secret. I'm going to tell you a secret that a lot of people are missing. The person who has the content that is findable can make money all day, every day, twice every day, instead of just Sunday. Okay? So what I want you to understand is it does not matter. I have seen some of the most terrible first, second, third courses. Heck, mine aren't always that good. But you know what? Mine are out there. And if mine are out there for the things that people are looking for, guess what? I'll win. Right? So all right, we've got learn to teach it. We're going to teach something I already know. And here's the third thing. This third one could 10x your income right now. This third one is you have got to learn to sell. Listen, listen, okay. I know when I say that, sometimes the reaction is, Chris, I'm not a salesman. I'm not a saleswoman. I've never sold anything in my life. That's not true. You put together a resume back in the early 80s or 90s, and you sold yourself to the company. Didn't you go to an interview and communicate effectively to get the role that you're in today? That means you sold. Those of you who are married, okay, all my married folk, wave at me. You sold yourself to your spouse. And if you're smart, you're still selling yourself, right? Like, our children are always trying to sell us on something that they want to go do when after we say no. It's not that you're not a salesman, but the problem is as my business coach Myron Golden would say, you only remember the sales moment that was terrible. You don't even remember the people that effectively sold you your car or that suit or that food that you ate at that restaurant or the whatever, right? Like, you don't ever remember that one. Why? Because the person effectively did it. We always remember the bad ones, and then we'll attach negativity to something, not realizing you've been selling all your life, right? So it's learning to sell is not like this bad thing. What it comes down to is, let me show you this. Let me show you this. Everything comes down to how much are you willing to learn new skills, right? And again, if you want to profit, well, now if you go out here and build this set of videos and put it online, but you don't know how to sell it, it's just going to sit there and it won't make you any money. But if you can effectively do the trio and learn to sell, right? Then guess what happens? When I'm in a learning mode of selling, guess what I'm doing? I'm going to start grabbing great sales content. What do I mean by that? I want you to start going and studying sales in a different way. than what you may traditionally think sales is. What books are you reading on sales, right? I want you to go figure out what ideas, who's got a magazine, who's got an article, who's got like a newsletter that you can subscribe to, right? Who out there, here's a good one. Here's something you can do. Ask yourself, and I want you to write down the last big purchase you made. I want you to go write it down. Then I want you to write down like 5 other medium purchases that you made. And here's the question I want you to ask. Why? All right. Why did I buy that thing? Because guess what? You already bought it. So there's a reason that you purchased it. There's something that obviously the person who had the company, the store, the brand, or whoever, there's a real reason why you purchased that thing. I need you to start figuring out why. But there's one real reason why you purchased it to begin with in the first place. Because you wanted it. Right? So don't make learning how to sell like this sciencey thing. Man, forget all that. Learning how to sell is selling to people who already want to buy something. That's every human being on the planet Earth. Is it fair to say that somebody bought something today? Is it fair to say that somebody bought something last week? Is it fair to say that 10, 20, 30, 100 years ago, somebody bought something? Is it fair to say that 1,000 years into the future, somebody's going to buy something? Okay. So the idea is to understand why that happens. You've got to go get that learning. You've got to become effective with that, right? Now, one of the coolest ways you could do that is you could jump into this 5-day challenge I got coming up here on June 20th. If you jump into that challenge, I'm going to be teaching you for 5 days straight all of the things and resources that you can do to leverage your job so that you show up effectively and increase your income and value inside of the marketplace. I'm going to show you how to do all of that. But while you're there, you're going to be learning how to sell. You're going to learn the foundations. You're going to learn the building blocks. And that will effectively help you be able to take anything that you already know and sell it. Because the truth of the matter is, and it doesn't matter what you sell it for, because some people have said, well, how much do I charge for this, 30 course thing? Well, guess what? Put something out there and see what people do. You don't always get to determine stuff. The one thing you can determine is whatever you set your price to. But I will give you a little hint. If you selling your products like constant set, like it's just selling like hotcakes, it might be too low. Might be. And if I keep selling a whole bunch of something, if I create a course and 1,000 people buy it like in a week, I'm raising my price. There's a whole lot of other things. Why is that important? Because eventually, at some point, I'm going to start wanting to learn. Like when you start talking about learning how to sell, I'm going to just give this to y'all as a bonus. Eventually, when you start learning how to sell, here's something that you also end up learning. When you effectively learn how to sell, you start understanding what I like to call your optimal. Hold on. Let me just erase that. When you effectively learn how to sell, you find your optimal buyer. What do I mean by that? See, your optimal buyer is somebody who is going to buy something that you have, find value in it. They're willing to be an evangelist. They'll talk about it. There's all these other things that come along with that. Well, one thing I will tell you is that when you're learning how to sell, you got to learn how to you got to charge effectively, because eventually that buyer, you want to be the right kind of buyer. What do I mean? I'm not necessarily interested in anybody buying something from me and wanting, and my tribe is not the kind of people who are always looking for something for free. I'm looking for people who buy stuff, people who invest in themselves, people who have a high bend towards their own education and investment in themselves. Those are the type of people that I look for, right? Those are the type of people who I would consider my optimal buyer. Why? Because I know they're not only just buy what I have, but they're going to use what I say and go get their own results. That's what I'm after, the transformation in the person. Because that story does what? Helps me sell more. Okay? And so there's a ton of things about learning how to sell that you will get. But I'm going to tell you, let's just recap for a second, because I want to show you this. I'm going to recap for a second. All right. LTL method. I want you to be able to profit now, okay, while you're working your day job. And this should make sense, right? Like, this should make sense. So you're going, okay, yeah, I can do that. I can, yes, I can, right? Even if you don't feel comfortable on camera, it doesn't matter. It's not about your uncomfortableness. Are you comfortable with the content? You can get good at anything, right? You can get good at anything, long as you're willing to do it over and over and over. So we're going to learn to teach, but we got to learn how to do it effectively, okay? Learn how to teach effectively. Simple language, multiple ways to communicate, doing it over and over and over again. When we do that, now I can teach something I already know and sell it online, right? The example is, I can create an instructional set of videos, a program I do, a software, a skill that I have, a certification maybe I got. I can turn around, create some content, and I can sell that. And then the third thing is, when I do that, then I learn to sell it, right? You have to invest in your own greater good. And by the way, I want to state this just for the record. This is something that I learned. Don't invest for the person you are right now. Invest in yourself for the person you're going to become. Okay? Invest in yourself for the person you're going to become. Don't invest in who you are right now, right? Like, if this is the first time you really thought through this stuff, right? If this is the first time you actually hearing some of this, don't invest for the person you are right now. Invest for the person. Who am I going to be when I get really good at this? Who am I going to become? Who is that person that's showing up to their day job fulfilled, building and growing their side business effectively, and learning how to leverage all of what they do, right? Coming back alive when I show up to work. Who's that person? That's what I want you to invest in. All right? So listen, thank you so much for watching this. I hope this was helpful. If it was, leave me a comment down below. Go ahead and share this with somebody. Hopefully there's somebody that you know that at your job, or somebody that you know that's effective, that you say, hey, you know what? This is a great conversation. Talk to me down in the comments. Let me know. I always like to respond. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, the Grow Your Side Business podcast channel. I'm here to serve you, man. And again, I want to make sure that you jump in. Like, when you start doing this, you understand, like, the Grow Your Side Business Challenge is the next step, right? Like, I taught you a little something here, right? Like, go back and watch this a few times, but I taught you a little something here. If you want to know how to put all of this together, you got to hop in the challenge. You've got to hop in the challenge, because I can show you how to take this. If you think this is good, oh, you wait till you get into the challenge. And I want you to be able to level up and show up totally different at work and really come alive. All right. Thank y'all so much. I'll see y'all in the next video. Have a great, incredible day. Peace.